Today, we are going to be talking about the different ways that you can be connecting with colleges as you're going through your college search. My name is Ali Khadija, and I work in the Office of Admission at Texas Christian University. I'm regionally based in Los Angeles and work with students throughout all of Southern California. I've been a member of RACC since 2010, and I'm the current chairperson of our organization.
And hi there, my name's Vanessa Aya, and I'm with the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. I have been regionally based in Northern California for the last 10 years. I have actually been with the university for the last 20 years. I do cover all of California, all of the West Coast, and I have been a RACC member since 2010. Thanks for joining us today.
Now, you might be thinking, what is RACC? And I don't blame you for not knowing what we are. The Regional Admissions Counselors of California, or RACC for short, is an organization comprised of more than 173 admission professionals from over 119 different institutions. We all work with students and counselors throughout the state of California while representing universities that actually reside outside of California. So, when Vanessa and I both said we're members of RACC, we live in the state of California, but our colleges are in Texas and Colorado. That's what we mean, is that we live with our families here in the state of California, but we work for institutions out of the state because our institutions find it as a priority to work with students in the state of California. We love it because we're in your time zone, so we can meet with you on your time. But we're also local, so we can meet with you at a coffee shop or at your high school, and it doesn't have to be something where you actually have to physically come to our campus to connect with us in person. So if you want to learn more about the different regional admission officers that are within the state of California that work for out-of-state colleges, we do encourage you to check out our website after this video. Our website is regionaladmissions.com. We have a members directory there where you'll see all 119 institutions listed with all of our contact information. And I promise we're all super friendly and we'd love to be connected with you.
Absolutely. And so in our roles for our universities, we connect with a wide variety of groups and people. Right now, we are still connecting with our admitted students. Think of us admissions counselors as your wayfinder. We are wanting to make sure that you are getting the information you need. In respects to admitted students, even after they've committed, we want to make sure that we are keeping them informed about important dates as it relates to new student orientation, maybe as it relates to housing and when move-in day is, and even registering for classes. Much of the things that we are going to cover in this video, I think will be relatable for rising seniors. And so, again, wanting to make sure you have the information that you need as you get ready to prep yourself to apply come August, September, October, making sure you understand those deadlines. Maybe for you rising seniors, you might be interested in coming to our campuses for tours. We want to make sure that we are sharing information with you all in regards to when you can visit, the format that would be, whether it's a 2-hour tour or maybe an all-day visit program. We're also connecting with your high school counselors. They want to know when we are coming to visit your schools. So maybe some of them are also hosting summer workshops for you all. Again, all with the goal of making sure that you have the information you need as you get ready to apply to us come fall. And then finally, parents, absolutely, we want to be talking to you as well. I am a parent of a rising senior myself. My oldest son is getting ready to apply to schools come August, September, October. But parents, what I would encourage you to do is to challenge your students to reach out to us with their burning questions. It's not that we don't want to talk to you parents, but again, I think there is great value in making sure that your students are initiating the conversations between admissions counselors like myself and with Ali. And Ali is going to now talk a little bit more about demonstrated interest.
As you find yourself navigating this college search process, you might come across this phrase called demonstrated interest. And for some students that don't know what that is, that can seem kind of scary, confusing, unknown. But that's why we're going to chat about it a little bit today, just so you're a little bit more familiar with it. Demonstrated interest is something that some colleges may use. And that word some is super important because it's not something that all colleges use. It's based off of the college and sometimes the time they have to track it, the data they need, maybe the number of applications they receive, could all impact the ability if they use demonstrated interest or not. So this idea of demonstrated interest really is there's different ways that you as a student can showcase your interest in a college. And some colleges will choose to track that. So for example, if you email a college with a question, a college may say, oh, we're going to throw that into that student's file because that is how they track demonstrated interest. If you are going to be added to the mailing list, that could show up as demonstrated interest for the schools that track it. Now, there are schools out there that don't track demonstrated interest, and so an email or being on the mailing list doesn't get added to your file and doesn't get tracked. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't still reach out to those colleges. It just means that it might not play an impact in your college admission decision. So some examples of demonstrated interest and ways that you could show your interest in a college. One is possibly through a college interview. Some colleges offer these college admissions interviews. Some of them would be very interview-based, where they have, feels like a job interview, where you have questions that you're answering, and then at the end, you may have an opportunity to ask a couple questions of that college too. And then other times they're more informational-based interviews, and it may just be a conversation that you're having with that admissions representative. That's a mutual conversation, getting to know the college better, and isn't a formal admissions interview. So there's kind of that evaluative interview and that informational interview. And those could be added to your file to show interest in that college. Next is a mailing list or some sort of like contact form or inquiry card. Those are things that you can fill out. Right now, the best way to do that is going to a college's website and finding their mailing list or their contact form. That is showing the college that you are interested in receiving more information. Whether that information is going to come via email or via mail, you're going to be getting the most up-to-date information from that college by being added to their mailing list. In previous years with the PSAT, the SAT, and the ACT, a lot of colleges actually get your names and interest from those different tests. Now, as we find ourselves in kind of the climate we're at now, where kind of the uncertainties of the PSAT and the SAT in terms of safety, those may be modified, or you might not have an opportunity to necessarily sit for one of those tests. So I would say it's more important than ever, you need to do the work to making sure that the colleges you're interested in, or at least have on your list of some interest, that you're getting on those mailing lists, and don't assume that they're going to get your contact information from somewhere else. Social media. Now I know that's a big thing right now. We love it, right? In the year 2020, lots of ways to connect with our friends, with our family, but it's also a great way to connect with colleges too. And colleges have come very up to date and now have their own social media pages as well. So you could follow them on Instagram and even make comments, and those type of things could get added to your admission file as a point of interest or demonstrated interest. Next is this idea of high school visits. So that's when a college representative like Vanessa or myself would actually physically visit your high school and do a presentation on our college and answer questions you might have. Now, with this fall being a little unknown, we're not sure what that's going to look like because every high school might have a different policy. So if you have the opportunity and you feel safe with a college visiting your campus this fall, definitely sign up for it and see if you can learn more about the colleges you're interested in. But if it's something where it's not being offered at your school, there could be a virtual option that your high school is offering. But also know that colleges, we're fully aware of what's going on in the world. And so we're offering our own information sessions and high school visits for you. via the interweb. So you can go on our website, especially come August, and see what offerings we have in the fall for different events. And by registering for those events, you're showing your interest in our colleges just by registering and attending. Next is that idea of kind of a virtual tour. So you may not have the opportunity to actually physically go visit our campuses that are out of state this fall or even this spring, but you could actually attend one of our tours online. And by registering for that tour in advance, it's going to show up in your file that you attended one of our tours. And that's a way of showing demonstrated interest as well. We oftentimes get asked, so I'm doing all these things to show my interest. What is it actually used for? And it does vary from college to college. The colleges that actually track your demonstrated interest, they use it because they want to gauge the level of interest you have in their school. Data shows that the more contact a student has with that college, the more likely they would be to enroll if they were admitted. Now, colleges, we are Office of Admission. We love admitting students. So we would love even more to admit students that genuinely want to come to our colleges. So when we can see that you have had several points of contact with us, that may make us more likely to admit you. Now, not all colleges do it that way. And Vanessa has a great example of how her college uses or doesn't use demonstrated interest. And then I'll also talk about how my institution may use demonstrated interest.
Absolutely, Ellie. So at my university, we do not use demonstrated interest in the admissions process, but we do most certainly track your attendance at visits or tours, when you fill out contact forms, because we want to make sure we are pushing out information that is personalized to you. So if you are interested in a certain major, maybe you're interested in our business school or our nursing school, we want to get that information out to you. Maybe you are interested in playing a sport. When you fill out your contact form, we'll see that. And so we'll make sure to funnel information to you that way. And so that's, for us, how we utilize all these points of contact when you reach out to us.
Thanks, Vanessa. And at the institution I work for, we do technically track demonstrated interest, but demonstrated interest, if you don't have any, it's not going to be a reason we would not admit you. It can always be a way to enhance your application. It's a way for us to get to know you better. And honestly, a lot of times students that do show multiple forms of demonstrated interest, when I'm reading their application in the wintertime, I'll remember, oh yeah, that student named Vanessa. I remember meeting her, at an information session online. Oh, she finally applied. That's great. So it kind of jogs my memory. Or if you've sent me a couple of emails with questions, and then I see your application, I'm able to connect the two. And so I just have a little bit more familiarity with you and might have more context information about you as well that could be helpful in the admissions process. So there you go. That's demonstrated interest. It's not meant to be confusing. It's not meant to be scary, but definitely encourages you to have conversations with those colleges that you might have some interest in.
Yes, and so just to add to Allie's great list of ways that you can connect with admissions counselors like us, we've got a few more things on this slide here. And so just to reiterate what Allie said, if you are looking at out-of-state universities, I do urge you to look at the resources, the RACC resources, whether that's via our social media accounts, via our YouTube channel, or simply by going to our website. These over 100 universities are out-of-state universities have invested time and resources and people like us, like Allie and myself, friendly people, I will add, that are very interested in informing you of the opportunities that we have at our universities and ultimately enrolling you all. So these are schools that really want California students to come to our schools. In addition to some of the events that Allie had mentioned, you know, many universities in recent months, of course, have gotten very good about offering events on their websites on demand. I'll use an example. At our university in April, we did a junior visit day, and we did record that. So if maybe you miss some of that as a junior, you can go into some of our university websites to click into sessions that are applicable to you, whether it's by major, maybe it's a student life panel, maybe it's something related to one of our sporting events. We have a lot of content related to that on demand. We also do live virtual events, as Ellie mentioned, and one of my favorite things that we offer at our university is a guided virtual tour, where once a week we have one of our student tour guides sign in with you via Zoom meeting, and he's basically walking you through our campus. And, you know, one of my favorite tour guides, he's great in person, Brad. He's one of our engineering students. And he loves answering your questions, but I love how, you know, he's not afraid to show his personality and his character. He's got some great dad jokes. I don't know where that comes from. He's all of 19 years old, but again, you know, yes, maybe you're not able to come and see us in person, but you can still find out a lot about our students and the universities that we work for via some of these live virtual tours. And I would also encourage you to not only connect with us admissions counselors, but also reach out to your high school counselors. They also are kind of like your guidepost. So maybe they are, you know, hosting their own events. Maybe they're doing college application workshops this summer. You'll want to reach out to them and find out if those are things that they have. They also, of course, hold the schedule of when people like us are going to be visiting your university, whether it's via a virtual meeting or actually in person. So please, absolutely reach out.
One of the things we want to stress for you guys right now is that this idea of being adaptable, plans can change. I'm sure we've all gotten kind of accustomed to that over the last couple months, and things changing daily and weekly and monthly. And that's something that I think we're just going to have to continue doing, even when we're doing this college search process. The reason I bring this up is because as the climate is changing, colleges are adjusting admissions and scholarship information, because honestly, we're not doing it to make it harder for you or make it more confusing. We're doing it to make it easier for you and to provide a little more streamlined process for you. A great example of this is that many colleges have announced recently that they're going test optional. And this is something brand new for many of these colleges. And so they are still coming up with policies on how this might affect their scholarship process, or how does this change if there's something that needs to be added to the admissions application. So really, you know, it is an important time to be adaptable, but that's also why it's important that you are in communication with that college, or at least on their mailing list, because when colleges have big announcements or changes like this, they are likely going to email out this information so you would have the most up-to-date information. And that way, if you're on their mailing list, you're just going to get that kind of automatic email that says, hey, this is our new policies in effect for our admissions process for this upcoming year, instead of you having to even reach out to one of us and ask what the new policies are. So that is the easiest way right now to kind of stay adaptable and to also know all the upcoming things that are going on with colleges. Please do not be afraid to reach out to us. We work as admission counselors or admission representatives. We are in this profession because we love working with students. Just like your high school teachers and your high school counselors, they work in education because they love working with you. The same goes for us. I promise we don't bite, and we are friendly, and we are ready to answer your questions. That is our job. So if a question comes up, you can't find something on our website, you'd like some more up-to-date information, please reach out to us. Email is super easy, right? You can write an email from your phone, but also don't be afraid to call us up. Phone calls aren't as popular, but we can give you probably even more detail on a phone call than we would via email. And if you find at any point that, you know, you have more questions that go beyond what we do in our admissions office, we're always happy to connect you with a faculty member from a specific major, or maybe even a current student that is on our campus that's interested in the same major as you, or maybe they're from the same geographic region as you, and we can get you connected with them this summer or this fall.
And one of the conversations I think both Allie and myself have had recently, particularly from rising seniors, is that question of like, well, what a lot of things were canceled for my spring semester. How is that going to affect my college applications? Well, we all had to stay home. And the same goes for kind of that summer planning. Maybe you had a camp that you were planning to attend, or a competition, whether it was academic or sports. And one of the things I think, Allie would agree with me on this is that, let's focus on the things that you did do, instead of the things that you might have lost out on. Maybe this spring you had to learn, like many of us, 2 or 3 different ways for you to access your classes. Maybe you had Schoology or Google Classroom and Zoom University. That's something for sure. Maybe you had to watch younger siblings. I certainly had my oldest son helping out with that, because I had meetings that I had to be attending. And then maybe this summer, quite honestly, maybe you are just focusing on spending time with your family, before a year from now, you are getting ready to pack up your things and move to whatever college you have ultimately been accepted to and have chosen to go to. And so, definitely be creative, and don't focus on so much on the things that you were supposed to do, but think about all the things that you did accomplish. Maybe you are taking an online class this summer, something that you would have not typically done, but something that it's in an area that you're interested in perhaps pursuing. Maybe you're making masks, and donating those to your local hospitals or clinics. So those are just some of the multitude of examples that maybe to you seem like everyday things, but those are things that we want to see on your college application. So don't be afraid to put that down so that we can review. And I'll let Allie wrap us up.
If you want to stay connected with the Regional Admission Counselors of California, you're in luck. There's lots of ways you can do that. And we have an active Instagram page. We have our Twitter page, of course, YouTube, which you found this video at. We also have an active Facebook page. I'd also like to highlight, like we've said multiple times, our website, regionaladmissions.com. It's a great resource. You can find our contact information very easily there from all 117 colleges that are represented. And you can reach out to us via phone, email, and get those conversations started with those colleges you might want to learn more about. Thanks for watching.